All right, so there's a voice in your head that's actively working against your goals. I call this the comfort voice. And I want to get on here and talk about this because I was actually having a really good check-in call with one of my clients. Shout out my guy Sebastian. But yeah, he was just telling me how he was really dealing with getting up in the mornings and all this stuff about just dealing with wanting to stay in bed rather than doing his workout. I mean, he still went through, he's a G. But like after thinking about that on the call, I got to thinking like, man, you know what? There's this voice, right? It's always working against your goals, and it's always trying to like have you feel and have you kind of stay in the place you're at. So I call this voice the comfort voice. And before you think this is some like crazy motivational David Goggins speech, just hold on. It's not exactly that. This is a voice that's not gonna go away, or I'm not gonna give you some crazy reframe and just make it disappear forever. Like, it does not go. I've been training consistently for almost a whole decade. I've coached guys through fat loss, muscle building, body recomposition, and that voice still shows up for me. It recently showed up harder than it ever had when I was recently training for a half marathon and a 5K. So this video isn't necessarily about like how to silence it. It's about understanding what it actually is and how to navigate and manage it when it pops up. So what is a comfort voice exactly if you're still confused? It's basically when you're like up at 7 a.m. in the morning because you had a workout scheduled that morning, and your voice is this voice telling you in your head to just like, don't do it, stay in bed, right? It's the same voice that tells you to like skip meal prep, right? Just wing it at lunch. It's the voice that tells you to just not do that last rep or try to go to failure even though you're right there. And so it's this voice that kind of negotiates with you in the moment, right? Telling you that you've done enough, you've earned this, you're done, you're good, you've done what you need to do. Even though you might have like cardio left, or you might have another set left, it's like this negotiating voice in your head. And everyone has this voice, whether you're a beginner or you've been going to the gym for 15, 20 years. Even fitness coaches like me who look like they have it all figured out still deal with this voice. The difference between the guys who actually set goals and hit them and make progress with their physique versus the guys that spin their wheels for years and years, it just comes down to who listens to the voice the most. So like I mentioned, I signed up for a half marathon and a 5K. Alongside that, I decided I wanted to run the 5K in under 20 minutes. And for context, that is like really ambitious for someone like me who did not have a running background before signing up for these races. Like, we're talking 6 minute, 30 miles for 3 miles, which isn't a long distance, but you are hauling for literally just under 20 minutes. Once I got on the treadmill and like actually got a feel for what it took to actually keep that pace, it was pretty humbling very quickly. And so I'm doing like these training intervals, like I'm doing these sessions where you're doing like 1K repeats, like 1 kilometer repeats, 800 meter repeats. We're talking 4 minutes of like hard running, like 80% sprinting basically for 4 minutes. Then you get 2 minutes to rest. In most workouts, I was doing that for 6 rounds. And after the second rep on all those workouts I did, those like conditioning workouts, I wanted to stop after the second rep. Like, I got uncomfortable very fast. My hamstrings were burning, my lungs were on fire. Like, I was constantly doing the math on like how long this rep is and how long the remaining reps are. Like, it was pretty challenging. And every time I hit about rep 4 on these workouts is when I really started to hear that comfort voice. And it was telling me like, yo, 4 reps is good enough. It's good enough for today. You know, just negotiating how we could stop earlier instead of doing reps 5 and 6. And at some point in this prep, this was very early on, I fixed it, but I did get off earlier than I should have. I think I stopped at like rep 5, right? 1 short, or rep 4 even. And I remember leaving and just feeling super like disappointed. Like, seriously, like in myself. And I'm telling you, it is like not fun to feel that afterwards for a while. And I definitely thought about that a lot during that day, because it's like, damn, like I've been training in the gym for 10 years and I let that little voice, the comfort voice, get me this time in this new thing I'm trying to learn with running and get better at, right? After that happened, I definitely locked in, was like, yo, we're not doing that again. If we want to get better and like actually have a chance at this goal, like we cannot negotiate with ourselves mid-workout. Like, that's ridiculous. Okay, so that was the last time that happened. After that was like dialed in, hitting all the reps. It still sucked, right? It was still there, still wanted to stop. I'm telling you, some of those reps felt like 10 minutes. Okay, there were 4, it felt like 10. It felt like forever. But I was able to really hear way better after that. Like, that first time I kind of got disappointed. And so I got to really learn that lesson again of just results being on the other side of uncomfortable decisions, right? And so when we think about trying to get lean, get shredded, get in shape, it could be going to the gym or skipping the gym after a 12-hour work shift, right? If you have multiple jobs, long hours, it's so easy to listen to that voice and be like, bro, just skip the gym. It's late. It's 9. It's 10 p.m. Like, why? Just go to bed, right? Go chill. It's those moments when you can skip the work group lunch sessions, like where people go out and they go out to this place down the street that's probably not the best for your calories. So it's like deciding whether you want to go the easy route, right? Just indulge a little bit, or just be like, nah, I'm gonna eat my meal prep, right? It's those little decisions. I think a big one for a lot of guys is doing that last rep, like, or trying to hit failure when you're doing a set. I feel like that's when the voice comes out for a lot of guys that I've coached personally. But in general, like, I feel like that's such a relatable one. Just like when you're about to get close to failure and you got 1 or 2 more reps in, like, that's where the voice comes out the most. To stop and when it burns, and it's like, no, go until it fails. Don't stop when it starts burning. So when you think about it, right, the guy that listens to this comfort voice 80% of the time versus a guy who listens to it to about like 10 to 20% of the time, because again, no one's perfect, okay? They're gonna have completely different physiques, even if they're on the same workout split, nutrition protocol, cardio, like all that stuff, same step count, goals, like they'll have the same program. But I guarantee you, just when you base it off that metric alone of who listens to that voice the most, like that's what determines who gets to that dream physique and the one who just stays stuck. And so the gap there isn't genetics or like being perfect. It is just, what do you do with those small little decisions every step of the way, right? Because those small decisions add up, right? There's a guy that says, it's fine, I'll restart on Monday, versus like, no, I'm not gonna do this, or yes, I'm gonna go to the gym at 7 a.m. because I told myself I have to. That's when I have my schedule. That's when it works the best, so I don't miss it in the afternoon, right? And so this is where the comfort voice can get so deceiving, because it's just like those little decisions. It's not like telling you to quit outright, but it's just telling you to stop short, okay? And it's telling you to stop short of where you know you can be at. So a lot of guys I talk to, they have these like high standards. They want to be business guys, entrepreneurs, all that great stuff. They got such these like ambitious visions for their life. But the more you are still stuck on this voice that basically tells you to settle for like good enough, it's just not congruent, you know? And so if you have that, if you have ambitious goals and desires and dreams, but you're still wrestling with this voice, like you gotta definitely dial this in and take care of that. So many guys on the internet just tell you to just like lock in and don't go off diet and all this. They don't tell you that the voice doesn't go away. So if you're waiting for the point where you just hit this perfect spot where you're just disciplined, you're locked in, you're David Goggins, right? Like you're just 110% locked in, you're perfect, it's never coming. That's not gonna happen. So if you're waiting for a point to reach where like discipline becomes automatic and effortless, like you're just gonna wake up one day and that happens, it just doesn't exist. But what can change over time is your track record with the comfort voice, right? How often do you listen to it? How often do you say like, no man, I'm not gonna sleep in today, I'm gonna hit my workout? The decisions to like take the easy route versus the hard but like optimal route for your goals, it's like those routes are gonna be there all the time. You just gotta get better at making the growth decision. And so a practical way to actually go about this and navigating this comfort voice is next time it pops up, just identify it and realize what it's trying to do, and then just make the right decision from there. So when you're in bed feeling like you need to sleep in, even though you were supposed to go to the gym at 7, 8 a.m., that's the voice talking to you. That is the comfort voice, right? Because comfort is familiar. But it's not where you get better. It's not where you grow. And before you hit snooze and sleep in, ask yourself, is listening to this voice gonna get me closer to my goals? The answer is always no. And once you see it, like the decision gets clear. It's still uncomfortable, right? It's easier said than done, but it's still clear. Hope you guys found this video really helpful. I just had this conversation with a client earlier and I had to like jump on here and make a video because I feel like this is such a relatable thing that so many guys go through and they deal with every single day and night. So if this is something relatable to you, drop below, like when does it pop up for you? You know, is it with your diet, with your training, right? Drop below, because I'm sure a lot of guys can relate. I feel like everyone has that voice in their head, no matter what situation it is. So very curious to see when you guys tend to have this voice. But besides that, remember to not listen to that comfort voice, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.